Hello and welcome to this second session of a kind of a messy play test of some rules changes, a reskin of a reskin of a reskin of Free from the Yoke to now kind of do samurai high fantasy. Last time we built our clans, we built our map, we decided on elements of our foe, what they are, our figure of tragedy who was possessed, uh, essentially his betrayal and his angst over that cracked the heavens in a sacred shrine and brought a broken god down in, and things went terribly from there. But we established our three clans and put some things on the map. You can see the map behind Alan in a form there. Between this time and last time, there was a suggestion made to get some secondary factions, clans on the map. I created a random generator for that. That's at the very end of the working document that I have there. And I went ahead and did that. And you will see those if you go to the clans tab. The Emperor column on the farthest side at the bottom has some factions. So there is the Sunken Rose clan, which is a seafarer family. The two traits they rolled were dedicated to truth and scholarly, and I've given them some surpluses and needs. The Hellpine clan, which rolled out as a martial clan with unstable leadership and untrusted as their traits, and then again some surpluses and needs. And then finally, the Nagai family and Imperial Seneschal vassals, who are artisans and courageous. And I've put them on the map as well. So we've got those as sort of secondary characters to play around with in this. The other thing that we talked about last time was the idea of having each of you, we've kind of got put on the map where you're generally where your lands sort of are vaguely, but adding a like big city, like this is where our capital is, or this is where our key fortress is, or something like that. And we're going to have you do that, and then on what's page 14 of the text doc with the world building stuff, and I'll make sure I copy that. I've got some holding elements, basically some suggested traits that you could have for your central holding. So I want to go around and have each of you choose a place that you think you want to assign for your central holding. And then once everybody has assigned that, I'll have everybody go around and pick two or three of those traits to describe that holding. Second chair is David. So David, let me look at the map again. And you are the Silver Lily family. So you're there kind of clan, kind of in the center, sort of that area. Where do you think your holding is in relation to the mountains or the Academy of Artisans or that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think I see our capital sort of being quite close to the Scholars Forest there, sort of between the capital and the Great Lake.
Okay,
So I will
grab that. And then Will, I know we've got you up in sort of the northeastern area. Where do you
Yeah.
think your clan holding is going to be?
Um, I think nestled in the foothills of the mountains.
Okay.
Uh, well, remember how I found all of the. There we go. Free from the yoke. Map assets. There we go.
And then Alan, what about for your the Glass Iris clan?
I suppose that my default setting was that the Tower of the Glass Iris was my center of power.
Perfect.
So can I just use that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I like the little octopus squid thing that when you drag on here, you actually get a little picture of the animal icon that you're associated with, which is I don't remember that being in the other things. But I suspect because it's a jam board, they want people to really be able to identify who's set
Who's doing what?
where.
Yeah.
Okay. So David, if we go and look there, I've got a big list of example holding elements, and of course you can come up with another one on your own. What do you think are 2 to 3 traits that define the central holding for your clan?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go for gardens.
Okay.
Definitely. A showcase of art. And I'm going to go for unique architecture as well. I think in specific what makes this the city, which is known as the Mirrored City, unique, is that it is rather than sort of being designed around a sort of central rather than being designed around like a central castle with towns surrounding it. There are sort of 4 palaces at sort of around the city, with sort of districts surrounding them, and sort of bleeding off into each other. And that's that each palace is essentially themed for one of the seasons.
Oh.
And the ruling court kind of moves around between the palaces with the seasons.
Very nice. And then Will, for your holding there in the foothills, what do you think?
I think it is a fortress in a mountain valley.
Very classic
Yeah.
look. Is this kind of is this more of the place that people come back to? Is this where your clan daimyo lives, or is he elsewhere? So I think we said he was the one that is kind of non-mobile, right?
Yeah, this is where the clan daimyo like rules from,
Okay.
I think this was I was thinking it might be it's a fortress in a mountain valley, but perhaps also has the sole foreign embassy of the fallen mandate
Okay.
within. I don't think that they're particularly well organized. I think perhaps that it's basically where different factions of the fallen mandate send ambassadors to assassinate each other.
Nice. I like that. And then Alan, what about the Tower of the Glass Iris?
Just to be clear, are we working off a pick list here?
Yes,
If
if you
so,
go
I
on
haven't found
page 14 of the document that I put the link to.
Hang on, have I got the most up-to-date version of that? No, I don't. There we go. Okay, page 14. Then. Oh, that's odd. Hang on. So the one, oh, I see. Yes, it's a supplementary one. It's not an update of the big one. I'm with you. Okay. So hang on. The Glass Iris. Oh no, hang on. That's Will's document. I'm sorry. I'm at a loss. Which
Okay.
link am I?
There is a link in the chat, I believe, that should lead to the doc that I'm working from.
Aha, there is. And now I've got the up-to-date one. Okay,
Sure.
so page 40. Sorry about that. I was
I-
thinking,
actually-
gosh, these two are coming up with some really interesting stuff off the cuff.
But the link in the character keeper is not my notes. That's Lowell's notes on the Lines and Veils page.
Yeah. No, it's the one on the character page that was the one I was the clan page. So hang on. Page 14. If I scroll down to 13 of 143, I get to creating the foe. And 13, 40, 40. Oh, thank you. Okay, so this is well, it has to be a tower, doesn't it?
Okay.
Let's see. I think a holy temple.
Okay.
Which is with a never-ending waterfall.
What is a never-ending waterfall? How is that different from a regular?
Okay, because it comes out of the top of the building and kind of flows down the various layers of the tower to a moat, and then somehow is recycled to the top of the tower.
I like it. That's wondrous. Excellent. So this is our map. These are our clans and our secondary clans. We're going to, in a moment, go to character creation. But before that, we need to make a choice. And that is the choice of the form of our emperor. And for this, we have 3 choices. We have essentially the new lineage, basically that when the last emperor died, there was a person who came in from outside and took over and has established a new dynastic line. There is the one that we did last time, which is the regent, where there's a very young child of the previous emperor, and there's a regent who has stepped in. And then the last one is it turns out that there was a daughter or a son that has come of age who was not raised in the imperial household, but was raised elsewhere in secret and has now stepped up to take the throne. So any feelings strongly one way or the other about that from anyone?
I'd like to not do the regent.
I'm sorry?
Not the regent.
Not the regent? Okay.
I'm very intrigued by the secret child.
Okay. Then we will go down. This is towards the bottom, page 119 on the sheet. I have headings in this, so if you're working with this, you can actually pull over the like index thing to the side in Google Docs, which is how I'm navigating around. So the emperor died, but soon after was revealed a secret child had been hidden away and raised and trained in more esoteric arts and practices. They are useful and headstrong, but shaped deeply by their unusual upbringing. So Alan, male or female?
Female.
Female. And David, tell me something about their appearance. What makes them distinct?
I think that they I think that they wear their hair very short, which is unusual for the culture.
Yeah.
Not quite like a buzz cut, but sort of more like a yeah, you know, maybe
like
kind
page
of
boy or
yeah, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Will, I'm going to give you sort of first pick, and we'll check in with everyone. But there are 3 possible forms for this. Either this child is child of vision, where they were raised by Shugenja monks, ascetics, and mystics, or They were raised by a clan that or a set of people who instilled with them a sense of duty, discipline, and order, or they were raised by a group of vagabonds and ronin and weird people. Each of those kind of has an impact, gives a little move there. So which one appeals to you?
Mechanically wise, due to gaining a surplus of scouts every year, that I start, obviously Child of Discipline looks great to me. But I think that thematically, I'm most interested in Child of the Dispossessed, even though it's the one that I'm the most nebulous about in terms of the mechanical aspect.
So basically,
I just like the idea of the in the wilderness, the bastard child who came back with the Ronin, the vagabonds, and everything to save the kingdom.
I love it. So if everyone is cool with that, that's the one we're going to do. We'll assume that in court there are these raised up vagabond NPCs. You may meet them out in the field. Probably the agent that we're going to decide on will be one of these people. And there aren't many of them, but they're highly skilled, and they essentially can't get eliminated without like being fought in a one-on-one duel. So we work through the flashpoints now. These are questions that I put out there. You can take them, and essentially everybody's going to get 2 of these that you're going to answer, and it kind of builds us up a history here. So the emperor died. The emperor was corrupted, tainted by this figure who had come back with vengeance, and was controlled. So the question that's put out there for somebody to answer is, how did you aid in the killing of that corrupted emperor? Alan?
Given the nature of the corruption, he needed to be cut off from his source of power, didn't he? And so I think probably we mystics severed him for a period of time from those sources of corrupt power that had twisted him, and that allowed it made him subject to more mortal intervention.
And I think that what I will answer is, I think people respect this, that severing, rather than actually attacking the body of the emperor, that severing it in that way was a more legitimate way to deal with it, rather than full head chopping regicide. The second question is, we say someone helped to evacuate the burning imperial capital or collapsing imperial capital. We talked a little bit about that before, that we have that empty capital from last time. So who, David, Will, which of you would like to answer that?
I'd be happy with it. I admit that I have my eyes firmly fixed upon a revelation, the next option on the list.
In that case, then would David, would you be okay answering that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the important symbol of the imperial house that was lost was the ceremonial sword of the imperial line.
Okay. Excellent. Classic ancestral blade, ceremonial sword of the emperor, imperial line. So Will, what's this revelation?
Yeah, my clan was the first to learn of the adult child of the emperor hidden away in secret. I think that the Quartz Oak were the first to learn of the adult child, because like the vagabonds and Ronin, they are always on the move, always moving around. And so they have encountered this clan, this small band of protectors and sages. And yeah, we were. I think that we were wary of this news because it seemed too good to be true in their time of need, you know?
I like that. And we will say that in sort of the other direction, the clan that was accepting of it was the Nagai family. We talked about them as being an imperial seneschal family. They were desperate for anyone to step in to take that place. And I forgot to answer the question on David's thing from the GM side. What blame did you take for failing to stop the conflagration? I think there are still the Imperial symbol was lost in that, but I think as well there were other regalia and signs of other clans that were there in the capital that were also lost, but maybe your clan managed to get yours out. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So we come, and this is again in anybody's order. We kind of start over. The first one is the shifting wind. You were present when a child offered proof or a demonstration of their legitimacy. Who wants to take that one?
I quite like that one, actually.
Okay.
If that's okay with people.
So what form did this proof take?
I think it was actually something quite mundane. It was kind of some sort of familial knowledge that would have only been known to sort of the immediate inner circle of the emperor's family, kind of a pet name or something like that. And I think due to our kind of historical ties to the imperial court, there were those amongst us who kind of recognized this for the proof that it was. And perhaps we had perhaps we were aware that there might be a child out there in a general sense without necessarily knowing the specifics of where they were.
Absolutely. And I think we have a martial clan, a secondary clan, the Hellpine clan. And I think that they had hoped to find proof and show it and gain an impressive position, but you snatched that chance away from them, and they still resent you for that. So the next one is the fatal choice. You were the first to bow and offer your clan's allegiance to the continued line of the old imperial family.
I'm kind of hoping that Will thinks that's a logical extension of the revelation, because I have my eye on the Emperor's judgment.
Yeah, I was hoping to take this one, so
Okay.
that seems to work out nicely. Yeah, and among my clan who objected to this decision was I think it was what do I call them? The Yori family, who hold the position of the clan, who hold on due to the clan champion being part of it. The Yori family objected to being the first to bend the knee, as they believed that it made us look weaker than the other clans. It made us look desperate.
Yeah. And I put the question in the wrong area, so I think this is the Hellpine clan that reacted negatively to that. I kind of jumped ahead on the questions here. I think that is great. It exacerbates that tension between your champion and daimyo, so I think that's a good answer. I'll go back to the shifting wind to answer the what was learned of the child's origin and familial line. I like to imagine that the reason that this empress wasn't acknowledged is because her mother was a Ronin, and there was a little bit of shame in that to the emperor. The emperor couldn't acknowledge her, but she was raised among essentially her mother's family of those vagabonds and such. Which brings us, lastly, Alan, to the emperor's judgment. The emperor has faulted you for a recent action or inaction.
Well, of course, we have this vague prophecy that a ruler will make the same mistake. And so I think we crossed a line early on in the new emperor's rule, where we implied or were perceived to have implied that either a decision that they had made or a policy they had stated was indicative of a ruler making the same mistake. And that line we crossed at our peril.
And I think that the emperor has, as a result, because you seem to be talking about old wisdom and prophecy and things like that, has burdened you with the recreation of the old imperial archives, the records. If you believe that this is truth, then you must find that truth and bring it back to us, and has set you that task.
And presumably those are the imperial archives that were scattered unto the winds during a great conflagration.
Exactly. So I think that for customs, we will say I think that the simple clothing and outfits, elaborate costuming being seen as a sign of waste and extravagance, just because our empress was raised without those kinds of luxuries, and doesn't know what to make of them. Not that she necessarily views extravagance as a thing, it's just she's unused to that. And I think for ceremonies, I like the idea of the Rising Tree Festival, since we have trees and plants as a symbol in our setup already, in which new saplings are planted while competitions and games are sponsored by local lords. And then gather agenda for the move for our empress, and I will copy this over. It's going to be called Dark Restoration. I think we're going to choose that one. Basically, when you locate, recover, and return a piece of the fallen corrupted emperor's regalia to the imperial house, you can either gain a favor or erase a need. And I'm sure nothing bad will come of all of these corrupted pieces being delivered onto the empress there.
They always make the same mistake.
We'll come back to talk about the imperial
Law
agent.
Sorry.
Pardon?
What did you choose from the law pick list? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I think that no clan may allow any shrines or temples to fall into disarray or be damaged. If they are, they need to be repaired immediately, because those are the places that the Ronin and her, essentially traveling family had to stop and shelter in. And she sees that as a necessary thing across the countryside. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to do the character creation, which is not that long a process, but it'll give us a sense of who our characters are within this. I have put in all of the character moves are in the keeper now, so all of those things are there. I did update that. And we have a slightly different thing. So, and I put these in alphabetical order this time. So it can be a courtier, it can be a daimyo, it can be a magistrate, it can be a merchant, you can be a monk or priest. Those are kind of in the same playbook. You can be a samurai, you can be a scout, you can be a shugenja. The new one is a spy. There is now a spy, which is our potentially spy / ninja playbook type. So, Alan, what what are you thinking? Do you have a couple of things you're thinking, or do you have a singular one you're thinking of for?
You know, if you offer me a nail, I will choose a hammer. As the mystical clan, I think that to go other than Shugenja or monk priest would be somehow dishonest.
Okay. David, what about for you?
I'm thinking courtier or samurai, maybe magistrate, but I think courtier or samurai, probably one of those two.
Okay. Will?
I really like the look of the spy book. Has to be fair, that's exactly what I was hoping. I was aiming for with my merchant last time. I was really trying to make him into a spy, and the spy book seemed really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to be a spy. Why not?
Okay. Absolutely. So I'm gonna. So Alan, do you want to go with the priest, or you want to go with the Shugenja?
I like the way that the monk priest has these moves. No, hang on, where's it gone? I've lost it. Yeah, I'm caught. I think I'll go with Shugenja.
Okay. A couple of other things that are a little bit different from the previous playbook. There are now 5 roles to choose from rather than 4. I've added another one called the Loyal. There's an extra backstory question so that there's a little more variation for those. So you're not kind of stuck with just a couple of those. But what you're going to do is pick your stats, pick your role moves. You'll copy in your gear, and you'll pick your moves. Okay. David, courtier, samurai, or magistrate?
I think I'm going to go courtier.
Okay. So let me give you all a few minutes to work through that. And
My moves only say roll rather than rolls plus stat.
which one?
So most of them, I would say. For example, many guys' roll on a hit, your disguise fools them. Only silencing appears to have an associated stat with it.
Okay. So let me quickly look. These are borrowed over. So I think where's the roll? So I think cunning for that first one for many guises.
Mhm.
No, your adversary is just hold. Overlooked is I think overlooked is cunning, and then House of Traps is lore.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah. And Assassin's Reign might or bravery?
I think bravery.
Thank you. It's just hard to choose a stat line when you're not sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I remember to say I'm not sure mechanically the spy works totally. The stat lines are all -1 law. House of Traps is roll plus law. No, I mean, sorry, not House of Traps. Know your adversary is hold equal to law, a minimum of 1.
Okay. Then take that second swap stat line and swap the lore and the might.
Yeah. I'm not aware that you could get a +2 in any other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the most you could with this now, I could raise it to a 2, right? But whereas with a clan feature, but otherwise,
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
I love that you've got the Batman Thanatos move in the death move. You know, when you die, say what complicated plan you've prepared now comes to fruition. Thanatos Gambit, sorry, that's what it is, isn't it?
I now realize that with no gear, I should have broken those into separate lines in the thing. I just now noticed.
Didn't you do that one by one though?
Don't worry, Lowell, you'll automate it in version 2, so
In
it'll be a
version 2,
drop-down list.
yes. It'll autofill all of that for you.
Of course.
We played Mountain Home, and the designer had very wonderfully put together a beautifully automated sheet, and it is quite nice. It is also, in some places, incredibly fragile, and we would continuously break those elements.
I have an eye for the fragile character keeper, which
Yeah.
automates more than it needs to automate, but I
Okay.
cannot let it go.
That might have been what was immediately springing to my mind.
Did you ever see that Urban Shadows Keeper? Well, you remember we used the Urban Shadows Keeper when I ran it for you, where the guy had built like that page that was a computational engine page. That was wow. I looked at that for a long time and I was like, I have no idea how this is working.
I've put some clocks into the fate of the quadrant character keeper to track, groups of opponents and things. And I've copied it from the original Starforged one. And I've just copied it. I don't quite know how it's working, but it does. And equally, when you select the rank in that character keeper and the pips turn up, I don't even know where those pips are coming from.
Yeah, in Fate of the Quadrant, I'm like, I have no idea where you're pulling some of the stuff that you put into sheet. I'm just like, Alan, I told you what I want. Put it in there for me, please.
The pips as I built it in my Star Trek sheet are, I had to go into Google Word, and it's little emotes that I put together, and then I
so
put those
that
in the
came from you,
yeah,
right?
and they're in the drop down as
So
those
what?
emotes.
Literally as characters?
Yeah, it's just like doing a series of numbers or whatever, but you just have to go over and steal emotes, like if you want to do hearts or smileys or whatever.
You need to know that there are none of those exist for the non-commissioned ranks.
Okay,
So could you solve that?
this guy solved that problem. All right. So I think we have folks have their characters. Alan still needs a name.
God bless the Rokugan name generator.
Yes.
You're muted, Alan.
Yeah, sorry, I'd forgotten where I put some names for my clan. They're in here somewhere.
I'll also share with you a PDF that's taken from the old RPG game Sengoku from Gold Rush Games. They have a really excellent 3 or 4 page thing on naming conventions and how Japanese names are put together and why they're put together in particular ways with examples.
That would be really handy because I'm never quite certain which is the first and which is the clan name.
Yeah, it's what I've used for years to reference at the table. So I'll get that PDF and share that to you. So David, do you want to start with telling us about who your character is, who'll be representing your clan in this age?
Yeah, certainly. Oh, maybe just 1 second while I'm
Sure.
I'm coming up with the name myself, but yes. So I'll be playing Fujimori Masaru. He is a courtier of the Silver Lily. I am starting with him in the leader role. He's one of the more senior courtiers of the remaining in the family after the war. He is essentially one of the direct advisors and representatives to the clan leader Hirosayuki, and yeah, you know, one of her envoys, essentially. For the moves for him, I've taken Hand of the Emperor, which basically allows me to throw the Emperor's agent at NPCs, and More Than Words, which means if I spend some time in conversation with somebody, I can start to work out kind of their who is important to them, and that sort of information.
And that will be rolled with lore. I
Cool,
noticed that I've left off the stat there.
Yeah, I figured it probably would be. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
So remind me about the threat that you have, the internal rivalry.
Yeah, so this is really as a sort of representing the fact that that, you know, because our clan was kind of involved quite heavily in the rule of the shadow, there was a lot of internal, a lot of senior people were removed during that process. The Hirose family were not traditionally the sort of the leading family of our clan, but because they were the kind of the least compromised, that's sort of why the Hirose family sort of stood to the fore. But there is still some sort of internal politicking from members of the Fujimori and Fujimoto families, trying to kind of retain their position, kind of thing. I think Masaru himself is still loyal to Hirosayuki, but almost certainly has rivals within the clan who would like to be in his position.
And I think right now, the difficult position that has been brought to Hirose, to your daimyo, is that there was a marriage arranged between the vassal families, and with significant gifts and things given, and the Fujimoto are essentially attempting to sever that and to back out of that deal, and that's causing a lot more tension. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Let's next come to you, Will.
Yeah, so Kaseyori is a female spy of the Quartz Oak. She's quite slender. She wears a variety. She wears many guises, is one of her moves. So she can assume a perfect disguise. It's one of the reasons I decided to go for a smaller, slender character, because I figure smaller, slender people can bulk up with disguises, whereas bigger, taller people usually find it a lot harder to shrink down, right? So she's also often in one of her many guises, often overlooked. She's not a ninja. She is a spy. You know, she has flunkies to do that kind of thing for her. But she has been committed by the daimyo from within his fort, summoned to a meeting in in the mountain fortress to undertake a dangerous operation to find out where the vanished people have gone. What it has already cost the clan. I think it has cost. I think it's cost the daimyo. I think the daimyo's son may have vanished.
Ooh.
He's there, and he's keeping it secret.
Excellent. And then Alan.
So where's my threat gone? Yeah, okay. So I think that Kabe Makiko is an apprentice of some description. Because I've chosen the loyal. Mark when you obey the instructions of your master despite the cost to someone you care about. So I think that I'm opting for someone who is being sent out into the world probably unprepared. So young, I've chosen that picture largely because I've chosen the move Way of the Wind, and that looks like the wind blows her long dark hair. So yes, young, inexperienced, potentially naive, just wanting to please her master is what I'm thinking at the minute.
And what do you think has been the cost that you're paying? Like, is it a family thing? Is it a personal thing? What is it?
I wasn't certain whether I wanted to define that now or wait and see what our backstory connections are.
Sure, I think that seems fair. Yeah. And speaking of which, we're going to take 10. We're going to come back and do those backstory questions, okay? So, David, which of your backstory questions are you most interested in putting out there for folks?
Yeah, so I think sorry, I've gone to the wrong tab. There we go. So yeah, I think the first one I'm going to ask from mine is that someone told me something that was great for my clan and disastrous for theirs.
Oh, me, please.
Yeah, I must admit, I did have Makiko in mind for that one.
Because someone told the Imperial Court what we were saying about the new emperor and their mistakes or just observations. And I think I shared those with Masaru Fujimori. And I'm sure he didn't deliberately share that with anyone at the court, but somehow I feel guilty.
Word just happened to get around as it tends to do.
Very nice. Will, which one would you like to put out there?
I'd like to unmute myself first. Somebody, you know what? My one true friend outside the clan is.
Either one of you want to take that?
Well, if you want to go, Alan, I must admit I had a similar one in mind. I was thinking of going for with Yori, but I quite like the idea of them kind of being they're both in the profession of diplomacy and intrigue, and I like the idea that maybe they have just quite a good, like, actually friendly relationship sort of thing.
Yeah, and you're playing the magistrate, is that right?
Courtier.
Yeah, sorry, it's just not. I'm just going to put that in there so I can keep it straight in my head.
Sure, sure.
Cool. Yeah, because I've accidentally written you down in my notes as daimyo, but I think I just read that somewhere in your sheet and just brain
Yeah.
fudge. Yeah, no, I really like that. So cool. I would love David's character, Fujimori, to be my one true friend, and I really like that idea that it's because we're doing that classic, friends across the wall kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. You know, we may occasionally oppose one another on political reasons, but
yeah,
we can still share a drink together, sort of thing.
Alan, which one would you like to put out there?
Well, and this could go either way. I don't understand how either of these people can do the things they do.
I think I would quite like that, to be honest.
Okay.
It's the more obvious one, it must be said, yeah, because you do some very morally dubious things. I understand.
Morals?
What are these morals of which you speak?
Yeah. I think what you mean is efficiency.
So fine. I don't understand how Yori.
And so is that specifically though in the sense of you don't understand how Yori can go against
the idea of wearing two faces, being different people, the practicalities of it, and also the moral question.
I like that. Yeah.
David, do you want to do a second one of these?
Yeah, sure thing. The other one I'd been thinking of that I thought could be interesting, but is a very similar dynamic was with Yori was Yori and I have a history that is quite unprofessional, but I think what I'm instead going to go for to kind of maybe give a bit more grounding for our relationship is maybe that Yori saved my life when a negotiation went very wrong. And perhaps that's kind of the origin point for our friendship.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Warned you of the assassin's blade that was coming in the night. Quiet. Push you into the rice paper room and shadows moving across. Shame for the serving man that I paid to take your place. But, oh well.
Yeah.
And that brings us again to Yori. Do you want to do a second one of these?
I have let's have a look, actually. Maybe there is one that stands out for. Yeah, I kind of like. I think it has to be suspects my true role, right, for Alan's character, because that's why you can't believe the things that I do.
Yeah.
Nice.
Does that then implies that the courtier doesn't know my true role?
Just knows that you're well placed and always has information.
Yeah, could we perhaps lean into that more as her connection to the quartz oak is what's obfuscated? Because I feel like to know you as a spy is to know you as everything. That's the role, right? But the secret could be the direct connection to the quartz oak plan. If that it's not too much.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Just when you're playing secrets and you're like, wait, what's secrets in the fiction and what's secrets in your head?
So what faction to these others do you appear to be part of?
I think a mercenary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ronin.
Like a Ronin, yeah. I think maybe.
It makes sense for someone who does work with that. Classically, the scouts and informants and things like that were people that were hired on. So it wouldn't be unusual for you to appear to be, for hire in that sense.
Yeah, I think because she has that move, many guises. I think that it is that spy thing of being somebody else in a lot of places that you go to, as opposed to a consistent person who also is doing shady things underneath the cover, kind of thing.
Okay.
Lots of legends.
So
Al,
I've tweaked mine to I don't
Okay.
understand how Yori can do the things they do, or how they can stand to be Ronin. To be so disconnected.
Yeah, maybe why you suspect that I actually belong to a clan and I'm operating on their behalf. Yeah.
and Alan, do you want to do another one of these?
I'm torn between my duty and there's a risk here that we start playing a different game, but my duty prevents me from being close to someone as I would like. I'm torn between that one, and I want to teach one of these two what's really important. I think the naivety in me wants to teach what's truly important.
Okay.
And I think given where I'm at, I think that I want to teach Masaru what's truly important.
Yeah, that sounds good.
This frivolous courtier.
Excellent. I think that makes perfect sense. So let me ask, we will have an agent, and the agent is of a number of possible roles. There's Imperial Magistrate. There is the blade of the Emperor, the person who carries out sort of martial things. There's the voice of the Emperor, who is a courtier. There's the Imperial Herald, who travels out as a messenger, and there's the Imperial Spiritual Advisor. Does anyone have strong feelings about that for the agent that we want to have on hand?
I suppose I'd like to avoid the spiritual advisor because I think it probably gets too close to where
Absolutely.
my plan and stuff is at.
Then maybe the Magistrate, Blade, or the Herald, so we don't have an overlapping courtier.
Yeah, those would work well for me. I'm maybe again just in terms of like what we had last time. I'm wondering maybe if we go for the Magistrate or the Blade.
Sure.
Potentially, maybe the Magistrate, because I don't feel like we have any particular like martial conflict set up at the moment, but
Okay.
I'm not particularly sold on one over the other.
Are you okay with that, Will?
Yeah. When you begin playing the Imperial Magistrate, say what secret the Emperor wants you to learn or cover up. I think that's a good, interesting one.
Okay.
Because the Blade's question is about who the Emperor wants you to weaken, intimidate, or hurt. I don't think we've got anything set up particularly in that lines, whereas we do have post-war relics and secrets and threats all on the board.
Absolutely. So I'm going to put in the Eyes of the Magistrate, move for them. I'll get their stats in and such, and we'll figure out a name for them. So now we have to decide what it is that is going to be our starting Emperor project. And if we follow kind of what we're doing, there are the following projects available. There's a grand construction, which again means building a wall, a fortification, a great shrine, a canal, something big. There is rebuilding the Imperial City, which is focused on just those reconstruction efforts. We're going to set changing Imperial Society off to the side, since that's what we did last time. There's Purge the Darkness, which is about essentially a campaign to deal with the corruption and bad magic and stuff throughout the land. There's the Search for Enlightenment, which is a call for hunting down something spiritual. There is expansion, meaning that the empire has chosen that there is some place outside or nearby the lands that they wish to seize. Or there is open war, in which case the empire is actually fighting a war against some outside force. Counter insurrection only comes if things get really bad in the game. So, David, what if you had to narrow that down to 2 or 3? What would you be interested in?
I like rebuilding the imperial capital because we have obviously quite heavily established that the imperial capital has been totaled. I like Purge the Darkness seems to make sense as well because we do seem to have a particularly insidious dark threat. So yeah, I think grand construction as well I can see in a similar vein to rebuilding the imperial capital if we want to focus that effort on something else. I know one of the things we established from my side was this library that needs to be rebuilt. But yeah, I think probably Purge the Darkness or rebuilding the capital would be my top 2 choices.
Alan?
I'd like to vote for Purge the Darkness because I think it's an immediate threat, so it offers lots of kind of getting stuck in. I'm less interested in building much. I suppose the other one I would put on the list would be Search for Enlightenment.
Okay. And Will, are you good with if we went with Purge?
Yeah, because David said exactly the 2 that I was going to say.
Okay. All right. So Purge the Darkness, and we'll look again at the foundation. The Emperor fears that corruption and taint still exists throughout the land, remnants from the war with the foe. Here we are. Place I should have corrected the text. And brought by cults or coming from another sinister source. So David, how does the Emperor plan to begin this effort? Like how are they starting this out?
Yeah, so I think that yeah, this is kind of something that is I think maybe this isn't kind of, at this stage, it's not like proclamations being read in the streets. It's not that sort of thing. This is a very personal appeal from the emperor themselves to sort of the leaders of the clans and the like. This is we know that the darkness that took my father, etc., is still out there. And we need to root it out. I think there is maybe still not obviously it is obvious what has happened, that this isn't a kind of like a secret war, but it is maybe a kind of, maybe the official announcements have been that, obviously we have triumphed and the empire is rebuilt again, but this is sort of the now we need to clean up, and this is the bit that's going to have to be messier maybe.
I like that. Alan, what was the inciting incident? Like what happened recently that has kicked this off?
I think Vertical Gurus. No, I think Revelation of a Conspiracy.
Oh.
We've got a couple of fairly challenging locations, haven't we? Mm-hmm. And I think something happened around the monument to the first twisting.
Excellent.
Someone tampered with that which should not be tampered with.
And let's say that already one of the smaller, like minor vassal families, we'll call them the Kiabu, were like implicated in this, and they have been already kind of dealt with. But it suggested that there's a conspiracy. There are other conspirators out there, and it maybe reaches the highest levels, and they're worried about that. So that is the Kiabu family. They have been purged. And then, Will, let me ask you, would you like to answer the third question or the fourth one?
I think I would like to answer the last question. Who may be frenzy of this? And I think that the people who may be caught up in the frenzy of this are, I'm almost tempted to say, like, political rivals. So essentially that, you know, it's open to abuse, right, to denunciation, to planting evidence, because it's a conspiracy. So I'm almost tempted to say that they're like it's almost the nobles, like the families are sort of like, you know, the lords and the sort of people with titles and stuff like that, like, are the ones who will find themselves victim of this search to purge the darkness, you know, because people will move their forces against them.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And I think that we're going to have, since we have the Nagai family, they're an imperial vassal family, we'll say that they're amongst those that have spoken most forcefully because their ties to the imperial household and so on. So we will increase the project's progress track when a clan expends a surplus. Blessings, justice, order, peace, spies, and spirits are all possible. The last one is wardings. So in classical Legend of the Five Rings, there's a particular substance, jade, that is an anathema to the darkness. And if we had the Defender clan would choose the substance that is the anathema. Do we want to just say jade for this, or do we have another substance in mind that might be appropriate?
I'm happy to stick with jade.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an appropriate kind of genre related.
There are multiple kinds of jade that may have different strengths or weaknesses, but right now that is when it says warding, we'll read that as jade from the text. And the doom track is going to increase when someone is innocent is caught up and persecuted, a highly placed person is revealed to be corrupted, the first time each PC clan gains either need blessings or justice, if a group of corrupted, tainted, or monstrous overcome those set against them, or when turmoil exceeds control, which is once per age that can happen. So this is the first winter court. Winter court, end of the year ceremony. Each of the families have their own winter courts, but important people, highly placed people, are called to the winter court of the emperor for a few weeks. Large numbers come, their invitations are extended. And I think because this is the first official winter court since the victory and since the ascension of Shimasu Tomoe, our empress, that this has attracted more people than usual. Where, since the imperial capital is not available, David, where is this winter court being held?
I think obviously the Silver Lily have obviously welcomed the new empress into their capital, knowing the hardships that she's currently facing. So it is it is being held in the Winter Palace of the Mirrored City, I think.
Excellent. And what have been the omens or signs that have been out in the world before this? The spotting of a phoenix, unusual weather, something else. What do you think, Alan?
A comet.
A comet. Anything unusual about this comet?
Yes, it burns with different lights with the phase of the moon.
Ooh.
And one of those phases, it's a kind of black light.
Bathing the world in a strange color. There. What what is the sort of big rumor that is going on around now, Will? Just kind of the maybe not true, maybe not false, that is in the wind for the people here at the court.
That the emperor may be seeking marriage.
Ooh.
It's just a rumor.
Yeah, but certainly that has all the courtiers and such a buzz. So we're going to go around and we're going to do that holding court move, and then we'll bring folks together to cross paths here. So I'm going to look at favorite ages. So at the beginning of each year, Emperor calls on each clan to serve them. So you will roll plus favor. So David, let's have you roll plus your clan's favor.
Sure thing. So my favor is currently -1 due to our issues during the war. That's a 7. I'll take that.
Okay. So on a 7 to 9, they have something they need from you. The GM picks one. Let's see. The Empress will speak with your clan and will say, you have always been the best at diplomacy. We understand, we respect those skills. We have word that a dragon has appeared in the mountains that are north of the shanties of Broken Magic. They're in the southwest. We wish for you to go and speak with this dragon and assess its intent and make sure that it is allied with us rather than with the coastal wizards. We do not wish the coastal wizards to have these dragons.
And I think, yeah, you know, the entourage will bow and say, of course, Your Excellency, we shall ensure that your gracious words are brought to these beings, and we shall entreat them to work in the best interests of your empire.
Make it so. Alan, what is your clan's favor?
Again, due to an unfortunate misunderstanding of our role during the war, and our overemphasis perhaps on some dark powers, it is also -1. So
Okay.
I will roll 2d6. That becomes a 6.
That becomes a 6. So if we look at favors and age, on a 6-, you're beneath their notice. They don't demand anything of you, but others see your isolation. You are going to lose an influence on each other faction. And I think that where your family might normally be involved in a number of the spiritual activities and ceremonies here in this place during this time, I think that the Nagai family, imperial vassals, some of the surviving imperial subfamilies, that they have taken up the slack. Things are said like, well, we understand your distance, that how far the Tower of the Glass Iris is, as far away in the western half of the empire. So rather than cause you hardship, we already made provisions.
That is most generous of you.
And then what about for you, Will?
So we are doing the holding court move, aren't we now?
Yes.
Sorry, I had to open up the dice room and then remember the name of my clan. I keep wanting to say Scorpion. Favor and ages, holding court. I, unlike these dishonorable lilies and irises, I stay strong, and the quartz oak wield a +1 in favor. So hopefully that will count in my favor. Is there anything else I'm going to do with that?
No.
Sorry, I keep going to the wrong tab when I look for this one. Okay. So 9.
It's
I
a
have something
9.
you need from me.
So I think that they will say your family has strong contacts with those in the north. Tradesmen and explorers and such. We would like for you to obtain for us, and we understand the difficulty of this and how sketchy it may be, but we would like for you to obtain for us the best current maps for the area around the Endless Forest.
Well, my Empress, maps of the Endless Forest are rare indeed, but
Yes.
my agents will seek them out.
Thank you. We appreciate your work and your effort on behalf of the Empire. And so we see the Winter Court going on. There are all of there are contests, competitions of dueling. There are craftsmanship, poetry, all of those kinds of things. Remind me, David, the arts that are in great respect right now.
Yes. I think it's extemporaneous poetry, flower arranging, and tea ceremony.
And what do you think that your clan is doing to kind of stand out during this gathering, during this winter court?
Yeah, so obviously, I think obviously, you know, while the Empress is in residence, the kind of care for the Winter Palace has been handed over to the Nagai family, to run the household, in for the Empress, and because obviously they are still acting as hosts. However, I think we still obviously maintain the upkeep on the gardens, and the gardens have been sort of made, you know, even more exquisite than they normally are. And you know, these are obviously the winter gardens, so it's sort of full of like winter blooming flowers and sort of landscape design to kind of accentuate the snowfall, with little kind of cozy corners with sort of coal braziers burning in them. So I think that's kind of and I think that's where kind of a lot of a lot of the informal conversations are taking place is sort of out in the gardens themselves.
And for Glass Iris, now you've kind of had a bad time of it. What are you doing to make a positive impression, or show your skill, or show your supremacy in something? What is it that your family is doing?
I think that we are talking up our ability to find remnants of the Imperial Archive, perhaps rather over, not boasting, but perhaps being overly optimistic about where we believe, because I think we're fairly confident that a lot of it was removed from the buildings before anyone set it afire. But they've been scattered all over the lands. But I think we're probably confident that they're out there, but we're probably trying to create the impression that we're rather more certain where remnants of this archive are to be found.
All right. So people are very interested in hearing it, very excited about that possibility, that possibly that you have some secret magics that you'll be using to do it, calling on the elements.
I couldn't talk about that. I couldn't talk about that.
I just couldn't say. And what about for the Quartz Oak family, who are in high regard? What are they doing to kind of show off or present themselves or make their mark here at this court?
I think it is items from the Borderlands. You know, there is a trade with the Fallen Mandate. I think there is maybe some demonstration of the what was the generic name we chose for gunpowder?
Oh yeah,
chemicals. Maybe I think fire powder. I think I just called it.
Okay.
So fire powder. You know, I think maybe even some very primitive fireworks.
Nice. Something they haven't seen or haven't seen in some time, since access has probably been blocked. Yeah, you will demonstrate that. Let's bring together two of you, and then as is natural, I think the third will happen to overhear the conversation, and we can bring them in. So
I just want to point out I literally have a move that is about eavesdropping.
Yes. So I think that Makiko, things have not gone well for your clan here. Like there's some nervousness and hesitation, disappointment. I think that has caused stress for your master, and that stress rolls downhill, as they say. And so I like to imagine that you are out taking a break from that in one of these gardens, resting, that kind of light, fluffy Japanese snowfall. And
A
it is,
brazier,
yeah,
warming my hands at a brazier.
yeah. And it is there that Fujimura Masaru comes across you. When was the last time the two of you spoke?
Can I suggest that it was when Masaru was on some sort of diplomatic mission to the Tower of Tumbling Waters?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And maybe you spent a considerable amount of time there, because in my mind, Makiko is unworldly and has not traveled far away. Most of the people she knows because they have visited the tower. And it seems logical that that would be sometime in a previous season or two. And she's quite excited to see Masaru. But equally, there is that kind of, this hasn't been a good meeting for the clan. But I don't get away from the tower that often. So there is a tension of excitement and concern.
Yeah. And I think kind of Masaru will sweep up to where Makiko is, and he's very much dressed in the kind of current fashion, in the sense that what he's wearing is quite plain and unornamented, but it's plain and unornamented in the same way that like a bespoke Savile Row suit is plain and unornamented. It's the cut of it is absolutely perfect. The material is exquisite, kind of thing. And he will kind of approach the brazier and say, it's delightful to see you again, young Makiko, isn't it?
I think Makiko turns, her face lights up, and she throws her arms around Masaru. I didn't think you'd be here, ruffling the perfect lines of his Savile Row kimono, and knowingly. I had no idea that you would be here. It's these things, the gardens. It's just so wonderful.
The winter gardens are a particular favorite of mine. I do, of course, nothing quite compares to the blooms in the spring garden when the season is right. But there is just something about the unvarnished nature of a garden in winter that I find refreshing.
Indeed, and it is from nature that all power flows.
Quite so. That's actually, I'm glad I came across you here. I do not know if you were present for the proclamation from the Empress, but our clan has been tasked with mounting a diplomatic mission to treat with with dragons in the lands to the west. That was what I was going to ask. Obviously, if we can seek permission from your master, I think it would be most useful to have a member of your clan. Your knowledge of the mysteries of this world are beyond compare, and it would be, I think, most valuable if you would be able to join me, if your duties allow.
This is wonderful news. No, I wasn't allowed to be in the big meeting, but my master came from it, and immediately told me that my apprenticeship is nearing an end, and I must step out into the land and complete a task for him.
Then perhaps I shall speak with him and see if he might deign to allow you to accompany me and the entourage on this task. As I say, I think I have no doubt that your knowledge in this matter will be of great use to us.
And just to make it clear, Casayor, you've heard all of this as you are behind a hedge, discreetly watching the flowers and fauna. Just happened to overhear.
Yes, I think I don't think this is a conversation that merits any subterfuge. You know what I mean? There's nothing juicy going on here. This is all very open and so very boring. I did rather expect better of. Look, I remember my PC monitor is not a touchscreen. I can't just prod the monitor. I might have thought better of Masaru, but I suppose Makiko's there and the girl is naive. So I will step out from behind the fan, I think, like around the corner, and bow to both. Makiko, Masaru. Wow. What fortune
do that?
Oh, you were simply distracted in your conversation. A mighty adventure for one so young, to head to the dragon, to talk with a dragon.
Yes. A dragon?
Yes. Most interesting.
Masaru, a dragon?
Yes, of course, a dragon.
But tell me, the silver, the glass iris, the glass iris, Makiko's clan. This talk of an archive is all the right. Surely dragons are great beasts mentioned within those records of your clan, or is it simply mystical arts that are found there?
No, I mean, this is I haven't really thought. I've not had a chance to think about it. But my master has said that as my first great work, I must retrieve. All the apprentices are being sent out to retrieve some fragment of the Imperial Archive, and dragons are known to be long-lived. Perhaps they will be able to tell me where I could find such a fragment.
Yes, long-lived and well-traveled. Tell me, is there perhaps room for another among you? I would hate to intrude upon.
Masaru, do let Yori come. She spent so much time with no friends, no clan.
I'm sure my budget can extend to some additional protection, especially as we are traveling so through some rather disreputable areas.
Thank you. And she looks admiringly at your clothes and says, "You must tell me who is your tailor."
Of course.
And I think we're going to take our break here. Let's take 5. And when we come back, let's look at clan moves, and then we'll see if we want to zoom down and so on. So take 5 and we'll be back. And let's take a look at our clans. Masaru, for the Silver Lily, what right now are your clan's needs? We know that the threat they're dealing with is this internal rivalry, but what are their needs and surpluses?
So we're actually doing quite decently at the moment in terms of needs and surpluses. So I'm looking on the wrong tab. That is not going to help. So currently we have surpluses of culture and rice, and a need for luxury.
Yeah, mood is good. You're in good shape. So what is it that you would like to do clan move wise here to kind of start things out?
I think that we I think that the our task from the Empress is something that's going to be handled on a more personal basis. I don't think that's a something I particularly am going to invest clan effort on at this stage.
Sure.
So I think what I might look at doing is trying to maybe start working towards contributing to our what's the word? Our
Project.
project. That's it. And I think that the way that we are going to go about that is, I think I'm going to go for a read the winds move here to basically start trying to ferret out signs of murderous cultists and the like.
Sure. Let's start with that. Read the wind. Go ahead and roll plus reach.
Oh, I think my reach is +1. So
and let's pause here for just one moment. I want to remind everyone, since this is always a thing that I get backwards. When you go to make a roll, and you want, let me get this, the character moves here again. So clan moves. When someone makes a roll not as well as they would have wished, other people, sorry, you have to declare the clan stuff. When you go to help someone, you have to declare before they roll, and you give them advantage if they help. And you can help whether you have influence or not. There's some notes on that. So it's declare before for clan moves. You can declare after for character moves. And one thing I've done that's a little bit different from the way we've handled character moves before is there is no chain of failure in character moves. If you make a character move and someone goes to help you to push that result up, if they fail, you can't have a third person then do that, because we've done that a few times and the chain gets ludicrous. So let's have you roll and resolve that roll for our Silver Lily clan.
that is a 6.
Okay. So that is a 6. So I think that you are moving to find out about these things, to get information and look on things. When you will receive word that actual violence has broken out between the two vassal families amongst your clan, and in fact, not the leader of the Fujimoto, but one of their important children has been killed in an unsanctioned duel between the families, and tensions have risen. Does that seem like a fair kind of problem to be dealt with?
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Thank you.
And we'll come back to that and see what the outcome is there. What about the Glass Iris family?
We're not in such a good place at the minute. Mood is -1, favor is a -1. We have 3 significant needs. It's almost as though the Empire is conspiring to put us in a box. We're short of people used to flood to us to be taught, to learn. And also we have a need for peace, which is to say, I mean, I love the description as a need. It feels like every time you blink, a new crisis assaults your clan. It just has not been a good year or two. And so I think we are thinking about how could we meet the need for peace. What would quiet the disruptive elements within the clan? So I think that's read the wind.
Yeah.
Which is roll plus reach, which is 2.
Okay, well, that's a pretty good roll for that.
It is. Oh, and I get a 10 anyway, so it goes to 12.
Okay. So we look at that clan move. So here's the thing: you get 2 hold, and you get to spend it 1-on-1. But because you've rolled a 12 plus, you could opt to spend both hold and declare a fact and add that to the map.
I am going to declare a detail and add it to the map.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to add. Now, I can't quite remember where this dragon is.
Oh,
is it down around the shanties of Broken Magic or somewhere?
just
What
just north of that, like in those mountains,
Okay.
just north of that.
Okay. Well, I think I will declare that there are rumors of Imperial Archive remains down there.
Okay. So you have heard with some factual basis, word has come from your agents throughout. They've told you they have seen the signs of this and that there may be significant elements, maybe some were hidden away here, that might be uncovered.
Yeah. So maybe we're not exaggerating as much as I thought we were.
Yeah.
Around what we know. But yes, it definitely feels like apprentices are being sent hither and yon in search of things
Throughout the lands.
Will? Just before we move on from that, would you, as an idea, perhaps maybe where the dragon is located is where this rumor of an Imperial Archive remain is?
I was leaving it deliberately vague just in case.
Yeah. Well, we'll move it up north here, closer where the dragon is. Just
right. I saw right that far north. Okay,
yeah.
Right. I'm with you.
Yeah. Because the dragon is there in the mountains. So that's a very interesting possibility. I like that. What about for the quartz oak?
So, due to the nomadic remnants of my clan, each year I get surplus scouts if I didn't have it already. And I'll immediately know if invaders enter my territories. So I will erase my need for scouts. Because then I won't gain the surplus, if I understand correctly. It just cancels out the need at this point.
Correct. Yep.
That improves my mood, right?
Yes. Mood becomes 0.
Cool. Yeah. I think the reason that Kase Yori has taken a fancy with this is that she's going to maybe this archive perhaps, or this dragon. Dragons are well traveled and wise. Perhaps they know of the Endless Forest, but the clan also wants to pursue that. Or the dragon may know about what did the vanishings as well. But so I'm going to use my clan move to actually pursue the task that the Emperor gave me.
Okay.
I'm going to use my Wonders from Beyond, which I think represents like the daimyo, passing on that edict to each of his vassals and like the nomadic remnants across, like essentially checking with each other. What do we have currently from the maps of the Endless Forest? So I roll plus reach, which is a 0.
Okay.
How would I improve that in any other way? I'd have to call for aid, right?
You would ask for aid, and if someone wished to help you, they could provide that assistance.
Yeah, I think I would ask for aid from who has influence over me? That's who it has to be, right?
Yes, that's we
Yeah,
do.
I have no influence over anyone anymore.
Well, then I guess that. Why would I ask the glass iris? They have no influence over anyone anymore. Yeah, so I'll ask the silver lily. I think you know uh, the silver lilies are well placed, well connected, influential, and artistic. So could perhaps offer some assistance in verifying some of these products. Like, are they forgeries? Are they fakes? When were they produced? That kind of thing. Are they the fictions of some mad scholar?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, I am happy to sorry, I'm just going to remind myself on how this works now. So
you roll a die to use as per advantage or disadvantage, your choice. So even though I've asked for aid, you could use it to disadvantage me, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I like that.
So Masaru, why don't you roll one die?
Yeah. And I am going to be aiding with this.
Okay.
Not very much, admittedly, but
I wish you were going to be aiding with that. Yeah. Oh well, you did, because I rolled 2 ones.
So the good news is you
Yeah.
rolled the highest of dice there.
Yeah. No way did you actually roll. Did I actually roll below a 2 on both dice?
And so let's see here. What is a good way to do this?
I mean, I don't get the maps, obviously, right?
Yes, right. No, I'm thinking about the hard move here.
But perhaps another clan learns of a way to usurp us in the eyes of the emperor, and maybe perhaps
here is what you will hear: is you talk to your contacts, people, and they will say, "Oh yes, we have those maps, but we already traded them away. The warriors of the Hellpine clan had gifts and things for us, and so we traded the best that we have over to them, and they have taken them."
the Hellpine clan. Is that?
Yes. They are just to the west of you, around the mountains. They're a martial clan that is, and I quote, unstable and untrusted.
Those dogs. Yeah. Okay.
So you know they exist, but they're in the hands of a clan that is not so friendly towards you.
Yes. Out of curiosity, just for a while, I can ask you about the moves.
Sure.
What would it look like to send my own expedition to map the Endless Forest? What kind of move would that be?
Well, let's take a look. So what I think that would be is actually
Read the wind?
so that's a read the wind is maybe to figure out about something. Like to do that, I think that this is actually something where you need to send people out, either like forcefully, we would do it with a claim by force, and there might be some cost to you, or if you wanted to try and do it sneakily, you could try and do it by subterfuge, and in which case it would be kind of represent something that you would have fleeting control over. You would have a hold of it, but you'd need to hand it off.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. That really makes sense. I just couldn't see until we looked through those moves. So
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
And sorry, just
Fun.
as well before we just to clarify on the lend aid, just to work it through for myself now with the new version, because I have influence over them, I don't need to spend influence, but because I got the higher roll, I also don't gain influence. So it's just a net wash for me.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Didn't have a cost, but things did not go as well for them as they would have hoped.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool.
That does bring us back to the Silver Lily clan. Do you have another clan move you want to do?
I don't think I do, to be honest.
Okay.
I think that we know what we want, we know where to get it.
Okay. Masaru, are you good if like our next step is going to be that zoom in?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. That there may be a hold together, I think, in light of that murder, but I also think that's something we can deal with next time. I don't think we need to do that immediately.
That is going to be one of those things that if it is not dealt with before some other things happen, then it will get worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Then, given that we're just at that 30-minute mark, let's put a pin in it there and start out next time with that zoom in with our 3 PCs going in. If people decide to send their characters, and we'll also do a check-in to see about any other clan moves that people want to do if they want to do them before that. But let's talk about time in the way that the things work. The end of the year happens once everybody has had a chance to do a zoom in for their character. So that's kind of the clock that is, once everybody has had a chance to do something significant with their character individually, you can say that, oh, I went on this expedition to it, or if you want to do an expedition for them, it's up to you. But everybody has a chance to do that before we call that end of the year and do the holding court again. So if you don't mind, let's do a quick stars and wishes. David, can I start with you? I put you in the hot seat first each time here today.
No, that's fine. I'm enjoying what we came up with together. I'm liking our characters and how they've all gelled. A couple of thoughts. I like the new lend aid thing. I like the way that works, where you having influence over somebody is an advantage to it, but you can get it if you help when you don't, and all that. I think that works nicely. I think that's cool. I like the that was I thought of this when I was looking through the character playbooks the other week, but I like the fact that you have put in a 5th option on the background things, just because the kind of the way it was set up before, were kind of like everyone had to end up a Ronin at some point in their story, felt a bit off, kind of thing. So I think that's is good that there's like an alternative option there. That's good. I do like those. So that's cool. It was nice. Just that little bit of fleshing out the sort of central holding, as well as we discussed last time. So that was cool.
Thanks again to Will for that suggestion.
And I said I really enjoy both Yori and Makiko. They're good fun characters. I like what little we've seen of them so far, and I'm looking forward to our expedition to the dragon next time.
Excellent. Anything wishes wise?
Not particularly. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, I'm the general stuff. I'm looking forward to like poking a few of the mechanics and seeing how stuff shakes out, but there's no like overriding thing I want to do for next time.
Will?
I was pleasantly surprised. Thank you for taking the suggestion, because I enjoyed it. Made it much easier to think about my clan rather than this nebulous space,
Mm-hmm.
I really felt like we fleshed out a lot about the clans and the emperor's regime, and I really like this this project in this context. I'd like, I think, wishes wise, perhaps to see that project, because I think at this immediate point we're not in a good place to respond to improving that project, because I think only one of us has a surplus that could possibly be spent on it, right? And that's the way you do it. So that's like a general wish, and I do want to see that be a theme or a thing that runs throughout our play, and I'd love to see the consequences of the downside, perhaps, because in the previous one I had a real motivation to do one or the other based on my house's moves, whereas now I'm just in it with the rest of you in that sense. But yeah, I think I'm going to do a claim by force. I think I'm going to, the way I imagine it, it's not like I keep reminding myself I'm playing a spy because I thought the playbook was cool, but the Borderlanders clan, as I've defined them, is not a spy type clan. It is a warrior type movement clan, right? So like she's the outlier. So I'm thinking of doing her mission with this expedition and stuff like that, and then claim by force is going to be basically like there are no maps available. The ones that the Hellpine clan have well, they are old maps. If we were to seize them by force, then they would still gain all the favor. But if we were to map it ourselves, then truly, what would the
I think that's great.
Yeah. So those are my wishes, I guess. To do something, have time to do that in the clan phase, and to I'm looking forward to the zooming in, to see a dragon.
And one of the things I'll talk about my sort of thinking in terms of hard moves. I did briefly think about like doing a hard move that would hit on what the project, like some of the negative things, but I thought better to hold that until we've like put some things into that, which is why I did the map in the hands of the Hellpine. But those are the places where we're going to start seeing some of the negative sizes when clan move fails. We'll generate those things. But yeah, thank you so much. Alan.
I think that the whole world creation really feels very satisfying now, in a way that in the previous iteration it didn't, and I think it also adds rather more meat, because it's a less generic. I mean, I know that the Free from the Yoke is set in this vaguely Slavic Eastern European context, but I think this is the stuff you put in here is very neat and genre specific, so it gives a very meaty sense of the world very early on. I think that's great. Whereas in Free from the Yoke as written, it can take a little while before you get a feel for what the world is like. So I think this is smart. I think I love the fact that there is a spy playbook, and I can't remember if this is in the original, but the role, it feels like it's slightly more operationalized, because say what your master demanded and how your connection is suffering because of that. Is that in the original?
It is in some of them. Like one of the things about those role moves in the original Free from the Yoke is it's very split. Half and half are say this happens, but other ones are say this happens and answer these questions. It's kind of uneven on that. I tried to go through and make them a little more where it didn't have that,
because I think it gives an immediate hook into a bit of RP related to that role, whereas it can just be a label if you're not careful. So I think that's great. And yeah, in terms of wishes, I'm just looking forward to engaging with the game, really, more to get down to a zoom in. And I'm interested to see how the gear works, because I think that's a neatly, it seems neat. So I'd be interested to see if it's as neat as I think it is in play.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I appreciate again you going along with me as we've added to that. I'm looking forward to. I love the zoom ins. I love the kind of the quick character scenes of them doing wild things. And we'll get a chance to see that. We'll get a chance to see how supply works, and hopefully it does. I am going to stop the recording.